So now, obviously lucky to have you guys in here because you've covered the Olympics before, you've covered our Team GB's progress to the Olympics. John, you've been to Baku and Trabzon, and so really I just wanted to ask you guys, John, we'll start with you. How will Team G get on at London 2012 Games?
Yeah, I think it's time to get really excited about how much potential they have. You know, they could win an awful lot of medals and actually make boxing capture the public's attention when you can, you know, in terms of being successful compared to the other sports where Britain usually does well. You know, they don't just, you know, they don't just because they're British, they don't get any free passes for the games. Well, okay, they could have got 5, but they qualified. They all
earned their spots, didn't they?
They all did it the hard way, and the qualifying route was really hard. You know, the World Championships in Azerbaijan, it's a tough tournament. They had to get to the quarterfinals of that. The men who didn't make it there, again, Europe's very strong in amateur boxing, and in Trabzon, there are only a few places that are on offer at certain weights. It was very hard to get there, and they all did it the hard way. And the women's team has been, you know, quite extraordinary. Again, there was one free place for Britain there, but they didn't need it, and they had to finish in the top 3 Europeans at the Women's World Championships in Qingdao in China, and they all did it. So they've medalled at arguably harder tournaments than the Olympics, and they're going to have the great advantage of being at home in London.
Dan, how does this team shape up with, say, the Beijing team from 2008 with David Price, Frankie Gavin, James DeGale and those guys?
I think this one could well turn out to be even stronger. I'm cautiously optimistic about the London Games. You have to remember, amateur boxing can be notorious for the politicking and strange decisions, but I have a feeling that IUBA, the governing body, will play it pretty straight in London. They'll try not to make anything go wrong, you know, given that it's going to be, well, it's the biggest tournament in the world. The eyes of the world will be upon London, upon these games. And plus they're trying to move into professional boxing now. I really don't think they want to mess things up by getting any bad publicity with bad decisions, and I think things will be pretty straight. I certainly hope so.
Sure. John, from your travels to Trabzon and Baku, what are the standout highlights of the experiences that you've seen from the guys in Team GB?
Our middleweight Anthony Ogogo's journey has been quite remarkable. He beat the Russian in Baku. He was obviously one of the best in the world. Injured his shoulder, didn't qualify for the games then. Had to do almost a year's worth of rehab in about 5 months. Made it to Trabzon for his last chance qualifier. In the bout before his qualification bout, he was going into the last round 6 points behind, which is, you know, you're almost certainly a goner, and yet somehow, some way, he came back from there. It was the most extraordinary thing I've seen, really. Yeah. And you know, and Ogogo doesn't even have the major medals that some of his teammates have. Anthony Joshua beat Camarelli in Baku. He could go far.
I was going to say, what about Big Josh? You know, you were there in Baku where he really sort of came to prominence, didn't he, by doing a number on Camarelli and then really pushing it hard in the final.
Yeah, I mean, when he beat Camarelli, I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. You know, Azeri Food hadn't agreed with me too much, so I thought it was a bit of a haze of what was going on. But then it was time to, you know, and the final, he had a close fight, only lost by a point, a real war, you know, with the hometown fighter there, with a packed stadium, everyone cheering on his opponent. And again, that bout could have gone either way. So him beating Camarelli was another highlight. But there have been so many more. You know, we've seen Sam Maxwell, a surprise selection at lightweight, who didn't qualify for the games, but he did beat Russia's great lightweight, Albert Selimov, fair and square in Trabzon, and again, that was
justified his controversial selection, didn't he, with that win there?
Oh yeah.
Who are the other fighters from the other countries that we should be looking out for? John, start with you in London 2012.
Oh, well, Ukraine have a very strong team, and Lomachenko, Vasyl Lomachenko, their lightweight, is the outstanding performer. But there are plenty of others from all over, you know, from all over the world. Cuba's light heavyweight, Julio de la Cruz, again, is a lovely boxer. He's going to be great to watch.
And who's Joshua's big rivals, you know, coming into this?
Well, the Azeri, the Azerbaijan boxer, you know, he is the reigning world champion. So you've got to look out for him. He stopped the Cuban. in Baku, so you'd think he'd be one to watch out for. And then of course Camarelli would get himself back in shape and
looking for revenge.
Yeah,
definitely. Dan, what difference has Rob McCracken made to the team?
I think he's made a huge difference. He's done a superb job since taking over in the back end of 2009. Been there 2.5 years and has worked miracles, really. I mean, he's had some raw talent to work with. He inherited a successful setup already, but he's progressed. He's moved it on a step. He's done even better with what he's had to work with.
We've seen obviously the real success of Andrew Selby. We've seen the success of the other Team GB guys who've been able to work with pros, like Andrew with his brother Lee in a good stable that Tony Borg's got, and with McCracken's fighters who've been able to work with Carl Froch and the like. How important is it that the two codes do start to work a little bit more closely together than they have in the past?
I think it's vital. I mean, I've always been a big proponent of the pros and AMs working together, but certainly in a structured way, with the amateurs controlling the access to the pros. I mean, obviously you can't just leave it wide open and let the pros come in and sign up the top talent, but they've kept a lid on it, really. The amateurs have done a pretty good job at it. They've decided what they want to get out of the pros in terms of sparring or advice or preparation or nutrition, and they've taken it and they've taken all the best bits out of the pros and they've left the rest, and they've sort of, closed the gate to the pros trying to come in to steal the amateurs. I think the pros are a bit more wise about that as well. They know that it's good for them to have successful amateurs, because then they can sign them after they've won medals in the Olympics or the World Championships, rather than snatch them when they're 18 or 19 and haven't done anything, which is what used to be the case before.
What do you think the target is medal-wise for the Olympics this year? I know it's a very, very competitive field for all of the guys and all of the girls, but out of the 10 we've got going, what would you say is a fair target?
A fair target would probably be 4 or 5 medals. If I was going to, bet, I'd be much more bullish and go for 7. Because they've done so well at harder tournaments.
Dan, what number would you go for?
In the men, I think something like, well, certainly 3 or 4 minimum, could even be 5, maybe 2 or 3 finalists and 1 or 2 gold medals, which would be is a tough target, but certainly it's possible to do. And in the women, all 3 of them have a good chance in the medal. I think Adams certainly and Savannah Marshall will be looking to get to the finals, hopefully even winning gold, because the numbers of the women are much smaller. There's only 12 in a weight.
Sure.
So it's certainly possible with a reasonable draw, and boxers will be seeded based on world performances. Certainly looking Nicola Adams and Savannah Marshall getting to the final.
Okay, all right, thank you very much, guys. Much appreciate having you on. And next week, the wheels are already in motion for next week's magazine. We've got a feature coming with Steve Collins, who's been speaking to our excellent feature writer, Donald McRae. We've also got an investigation on the use of performance-enhancing drugs by California journalist Gabe Montoya. So, in the meantime, anytime that you want to debate with us, you can find us on the Boxing News forums, on Twitter or on Facebook. And you can download our apps at www.boxingnewsonline.net/apps. Okay, thank you very much, guys. See you next week.
Just turned out I can't say trajectory.